Everyone loves summer, right? Right? Wrong! As an F1 fan, there is nothing more than pain and despair waiting for us in this season. The season had finally reached a point of no return. 9 points separated the top two. Everyone has basically finished their upgrades for this season, so it's just that sprint to the end. And then they hit us with a whole whopping month of no F1 action.
What? We're flying to Philadelphia. Oh, hell no! That's hell no! No!
But like the troopers we all are, we have survived. And now we get to get excited for the Dutch GP. So this is everything that you need to know heading into the Dutch Grand Prix 2025. So important news wise, actually when I was making the script, I was going to be going on a tangent about how nothing had really happened just yet. There was only one piece of news. And that was the rumours about Bottas and Perez, 99.9% chance signing for Cadillac. But I can now tell you that it's not just a rumour anymore. It has been confirmed everywhere. Bottas and Checo Perez will be there for 2026. And I, for one, am so excited for this. They have come into F1 showing they mean business. This is big signings. Bottas and Perez are good drivers. They may not be your top drivers like a Verstappen, Alonso, Hamilton, but a team like Cadillac isn't going to have that pull. But we've seen Bottas. He's a brilliant driver. We've seen Perez. They're both great second drivers, and now they're going to be in Cadillac. I can't wait to watch them. Let's hope Cadillac actually have a half-decent car. I don't think they will in 2026. It just doesn't really work like that in F1. And people might go, oh, well, what about Brawn GP? A very different story because this is a new team. Brawn GP would be more if Audi came out and did absolutely blinding. So we'll see exactly how that all goes. But honestly, that's about it in the world of F1 heading into the Dutch GP. And you can really tell that when you look on the F1 app when we get such riveting content. Chaz. Russell reveals how chat with tennis star Djokovic inspired him. Or how Ferrari's 2025 season has played out. Well, I could give you an article in one word, F1, if you want to hire me. Wank. But in all seriousness, of course, it is Wednesday. So if any news does come out, either on development drivers, driving in FP1, any special liveries coming out, all of that jazz ahead of the Dutch GP, make sure to check underneath in the comments as I'll start a thread with any big news that comes out in the span of this video going up and the weekend actually starting. Then quickly, before we head into the rest of the video, let's just have a quick little look over at the championship again, just to make sure we are refreshed heading into this weekend. And like I've mentioned, maybe about a million times over the last few videos I've done, but the gap has shrunk down from Hungary to 9 points in the battle, with Oscar Piastri on 284 points to Lando Norris on 275. Aston Martin also shot up into 6th place in the constructors' standings with one brilliant race weekend, getting over Sauber, which I thought was quite sad for Sauber. However, you know, with the way F1's going with the midfield drivers at the minute, Sauber could be having a great weekend next week as well. And to be fair, they had a great week. They had a great weekend in Hungary. It's just Aston Martin's was even better. And then also Alpine are still crap. So let's now head over to some quick fire stats to get you in the mood for the Dutch GP, like last race winners, who's won the most. So for anyone who didn't know, we have had 34 Grand Prix weekends at Zandvoort. This is going to be number 35. Who was the last winner we had? Well, that would have been Lando Norris, setting the world alight, actually having one of the more dominant race weekends we saw of 2024. He had around a 20-second gap to second place, which Leclerc was quite shocked to hear that the McLaren was that fast. The driver with the most wins here would actually be Jim Clark. That's how iconic this circuit is and how much history it has around. He has 4 to his name, whilst the driver on the actual grid right now who has the most wins here would of course be Maxi Taxi with 3. Most pole positions would be tied between René Arnoux, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correct, and again Max Verstappen on 3. How many overtakes have we had in the 2024 race? Well, we had 43, and considering what we saw in 2023 with rain, Zandvoort's not too shabby with the overtaking. It should be a brilliant race to watch. And I actually just love the circuit layout. It is one of my favourite tracks to drive on the F1 game and to just watch the cars go round. So that ain't too shabby indeed. And then finally, statistic-wise, most kilometres led in Zandvoort would also be, again, Jim Clark with 1,551 kilometres. How the hell does Stats GP know this exact number? You beat me. But apparently this is an actual stat. So there you go. If you wanted to know that, you've just learned something new. But with that all said and done, let's now head over to your session information. Unlike Spa 2 race weekends ago, very much more similar to Hungary, we have a normal race weekend ahead of us. So again, what does that mean for anyone coming into the sport or for anyone who just wants to know the gist of it? Well, we are going to have practice 1 and practice 2 on the Friday, 3 in the morning / early afternoon, quali in the afternoon, and then we head over to Sunday, of course, race day. But just remember, keep an eye on the full schedule over on the F1 app because there will be other racing going on and they actually are really fun to watch if you love just racing in general. Because let's get real, F1 is the big dog that we all want to watch, but stuff like Porsche Cup, F2, F3, F1 Academy, it's a great watch if you just want to watch some racing on the weekend. But now you know all about the session report, let's now head over to your weatherman, Zach GP. Hello everyone, it's your weatherman, Zach GP, live only a small distance of 344 miles away from the track. I can almost smell the air from here, but more importantly, what does the weather look like for the weekend? Well, heading into Friday's sessions, we have a small chance of drizzle all across the entire day that could leak into FP1 and FP2 with temperatures looking around the high teens at the best and dipping potentially as low in the early morning and night around 15 degrees. Then heading into Saturday, and it doesn't look too good rain-wise. Again, temperature-wise, it looks like it could range from around 17 degrees to 19 degrees. That's Mercedes' area that they love to work in. However, most of the day, especially at key points like qualifying, it looks like we could be having a lot of rain. So get prepared everyone, because it looks like it's going to be a wet and wild ride. Then heading into Sunday, and it's a lot of the same, especially temperature-wise. 100% will be again the high teens, but the rain will slightly slow down with a coverage of around 30-odd%. However, we've seen how these can go, and throughout the week, don't be surprised if we see a lot more rain on the forecast. I'm not surprised at the minute. It seems like we get a rain prediction every bloody weekend now that the racing's happening. So I think that's just 2025 for you. But anyway, that is the weather report. Back to you in the studio. Thank you very much, Weatherman, and it is now that part in the video where we head over to the Zach GP predictions. I give you my predictions for the Dutch GP over on F1 Predicts, and hey, if you want to know how legit these predictions are, studies have shown these are the most accurate predictions you can find online. There might have only been one person taking that study, and it was me. However, hey, the stats don't lie. So, heading into the predictions for this race weekend, and we start off with question 1, as per usual, of predicting the podium. Now, this podium is actually going off some good stats of 3rd place, Max Verstappen will perform well, hopefully, at his home turf. If he's going to get another podium or do even better than that, it would be at this weekend in Zandvoort. Then we've got for Oscar Piastri 2nd, just because of how fast the McLaren is. And then Lando Norris 1st here. Because like I mentioned in previous videos, Norris won here by over 20 seconds last season. He's very good at this track, so I can't see him not being 1st place this weekend. Same sort of situation for pole position, and that's why I've gone for Lando Norris again. Then heading into question 3, and I've gone with Ollie Behrman. Now, I'm surprised Ollie Behrman is the 15-point choice, because a lot of the time this season, Behrman actually dominates Ocon in qualifying. It's then when that race pace comes in that Ocon can sort of push forward again. But I'm surprised Behrman's 15 points compared to Ocon's 10. I'm taking Ollie Behrman this time round. How many teams will get cars into Q3? I've gone for a slight differential again with 6. So basically, it'll be all of the top 4 big teams. And then my thinking is it will be an Aston Martin and a Sauber, or a Aston Martin and a Racing Bulls. But I think it's going to be one of those weekends where Hamilton isn't as bad as we've seen him. Same with Kimi Antonelli. So I don't think there's as much room as to get 7 different teams in, and that's why I've gone for 6. Who will finish ahead? Pretty straightforward. Isaac Hadjar's been in the form of his life this season so far. I could see it being Sainz or Lawson. I don't think it's going to be Gasly, but I've gone pretty safe here and gone for Hadjar. Then funnily enough, it's the first time this season for a while that I haven't gone for Ferrari, and it's Red Bull. And it's purely because recently Ferrari have kind of slowed down on their pit stops, and now McLaren and Red Bull are getting equal or faster pit stops than the Ferraris. So at 22 points, I thought I'd have a punt and go for Red Bull. Will there be a safety car? 100% if there's rain coming potentially for the Grand Prix. I think 100% I have to say yes to this. Potentially, if we see on the forecast the rain ends up not coming, I might take it back to a no. Who will set the fastest lap? I just wanted to switch it up a little bit and went for Oscar Piastri. Which team will score more points? Again, kind of need Aston Martin to do that because of my forfeit prediction as well. So I've gone for Aston. And then finally, most places gained by a driver, I've gone for more than 4.5. As we know you can overtake around Zandvoort. If we do get a bad qualifying from the likes of a Hamilton and Antonelli, we know they'll be able to overtake. Or we potentially could get an Ocon starting in 20th, ending up in 12th, 13th, that sort of situation. But I don't think 5 is too many to comprehend, and that's why I've gone for that. But anyway, those are my F1 predictions heading into this Grand Prix weekend. If you want to join a league, make sure to join the ZachGP League over on F1 Predicts. We have 211 members right now over there. And hey, if you want to join, there's the league code. There's the invite. I'll have it all in the description down below as well. But let's go back to the forfeit prediction. And then quickly to finish off the predictions, as usual, we'll go over my forfeit prediction this weekend. So for anyone who's coming into this video for the first time, I always do a forfeit prediction, whether it be having to wax my arm if I get it wrong, doing a full 78 lap race around Monaco, 2 hours running or cycling. You get the gist of it, a spicy wheel. However, I've actually been pretty good since Silverstone, my last one I had to do. And I'm trying to plan to keep that the way it is. So this weekend, I have gone, if Fernando Alonso is not in the top 10 of the driver's standings, so that means overtaking Ocon in the driver's standings basically, I will do a man versus food challenge. I'll put a timer around 15-20 minutes. I try to see how many Stroop waffles I can eat before I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Now, that sounds like a dream at the start, and I think maybe the first 6 or 7 will be half decent, but then I think you'll get to that point where you hit a wall and I'm gonna feel terrible. But if I do have to do this, I'm gonna try to eat around 15 to 20. We'll see if I can actually do that. But hey, hopefully I won't have to. Alonso, don't let me down. And now for the most important part of the video, let's now head over to the ZachGP analyst and get a circuit overview.
The Zandvoort circuit debuted in F1 in 1952, and since then has been home to some brilliant racing, with a circuit length of 4.259 kilometers, 72 laps, and a race distance of 306.648 kilometers. With 2 D terms and the chance for some rain overtaking should not be an issue. So let's get excited for some F1 action.
Thank you very much, Bear, for that very detailed information. And that is all from me today, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if this is the sort of video you like to see on the channel. And hey, comment down below, did you like the different style I went for on this video this weekend? As I had a look at the engagement on where people did like the videos and where people didn't. And it looked like people didn't really care too much about the rundown of last race weekend. So comment down below, did you miss that? Do you agree with that? Are there any other things you'd like me to cover in these videos? As I can't really do upgrades. I thought about doing that as well, but we're basically getting to the end of that. So, but hey, comment down below what else you'd like to see from this video and what you enjoyed, because then I can put a little bit more emphasis on them potentially. But anyway, have a great rest of your day, have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you all very soon.